Hi, my name is John Morgan. I'm the head coach of Huntington Beach High School Wrestling. We're in the Huntington Beach High School Wrestling Room right now, and welcome. I started here in 1998. I got to wrestle for 2 years. I made it as a freshman. I made varsity. I was the only freshman on the team that was varsity. Made it to CIF as a freshman. Did real well. Sophomore year was undefeated and ended up breaking my ankle in 5 places and both my shin bones in half. So it kind of put a really big halt on my wrestling career. Also, as a kid, growing up here, it's a delicate situation where we have some people who are really poor and some people who are really rich. I was one of the really poor kids. I slept in me and my mom. It was just my mom and I. My dad left when I was a little kid, when I was 3 to be exact. So she couldn't afford all the things. She was a single mother. She had to work long hours. She worked from 5 in the morning until 9 o'clock at night. You know, it's hard to find the discipline being one of the poorer kids. Now that I'm coming back as a coach, I can really help these kids with the things that I lacked. I started Jiu Jitsu when I lived in Hawaii. I moved to Hawaii to kind of just find myself, to surf after I couldn't wrestle anymore. After that, I just kind of got not depressed, I just didn't know what I wanted. I didn't know where I wanted to go. So when I moved to Hawaii, it was just kind of to find myself, and just randomly I started doing jiu-jitsu out there. Being such a good wrestler, when I went into my first class, I was able to hang with all the jiu-jitsu guys, and then I started teaching wrestling in exchange for learning jiu-jitsu. In the past 20 years, this wrestling team has not had a coach that stayed longer than 2 years, which is there's been no consistency for the team. I was a part of that 20-year program, which really affected my wrestling. Being such a good wrestler, I didn't have the coaching to help me get to that next level, which is one of the reasons why I didn't make it very far in wrestling. In this room has been around since the 60s. We had it was wall-to-wall mats, the whole thing. Last year, our practice mats, which are top-of-the-line res light mats, got cut in half. So then they put on our competition mats over that, which were also cut to fit the room. So we lost all of our mats. So these kids now, they have no way to do a league competition next year at all. They don't have a competition mat. These kids need to see that people care about them, to help inspire and help pump them up and get them excited for next season and just for life, Kids at high school shouldn't have to come into a program that's just destroyed, and not because of anything that they did, but because of just lack of responsibility, lack of leadership, just all those things. These kids are kids, so anything that we can do or anybody out there can do to help is going to be a lot better. The funding and the studying, I come to every practice now. I know that they've had trouble with consistency in coaches before, but I come to every practice and I'll be at every tournament. So they have somebody to look up to, they have somebody to talk to if they need questions, and they have technique now. They can actually learn how to wrestle and develop into what they want to do and accomplish their goals, and whether it's wrestling or just life goals. That's the whole point for these kids, is to make them better people, not just better wrestlers. So hopefully they can become successful on and off the mats, whether it's attaining the goal of going to state or masters, or attaining the goal of just going to college and being successful. That's what I'm here to help them do. And I plan on being here as the coach until my kids graduate. And I don't have kids yet, so it's going to be a long time that they'll have a consistent coach at the school. And I care about this place because I went here and I wrestled on these mats. So this is my home. I'm born and raised in Huntington Beach.